Hi, I'm Kaylee. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something that you and I do every single day, whether or not we realize that. Let's dive into that, shall we? Well, the fact is that people complain every day. And according to Will Bowen, average people complain 15 to 30 times a day. So that means including you and me. Let's look at the definition of the word complain itself. As we can see, the word complain means expressing our disapproval, discontent, dissatisfaction, grief, pain, annoyance. None of these are positive, are they? And yet we still do it. We still complain every day. And the most common things that we complain about is something that we can't even change. The weather. That we complain about traffic. We complain about a bad customer service. We complain when we are out of mobile credit, out of mobile phone battery, out of internet signal or Wi-Fi. We also complain when we see somebody litter. We complain when someone cut us in line. We complain, and complain. According to Will Bowen, there are 5 reasons behind people's complaint: getting attention, removing responsibility, inspiring envy or bragging, making themselves seem or look powerful, and making excuses for poor performance. Getting attention to complain is perhaps one of the most common things that we do. Oh, the weather is just so gloomy. Oh, it's raining every day. The traffic is so bad. We use that to start a conversation so that when the other person, the counterpart, relates to that, we could feel connected so much more quickly. Another example is when we have a bad day at work. Our boss is mad, our boss yells at us, our report isn't done according to the deadline, or probably a client just rejected after saying yes initially, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will feel this stress, this anger, this burden, and we really want to get it out of our chest. When we have a bad day at work, then we go home. As we arrive home, we see our family members, or let's say our spouse. If we're married, we naturally talk about what happened at work that put us so much under pressure, and really by venting we just want to feel heard, seen, and validated. We want to feel connected. Removing responsibility, or shall I say escaping responsibility, is when we complain about how something cannot be done. Let's say you are in a sales department, then your manager comes to you and say, "Scarlett, starting from tomorrow, our daily sales meeting will be at 8 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. Would you please create an email announcement without thinking. You tell your manager, it's not possible, sir or ma'am. It's going to be 2 hours earlier. There are 30 salespeople in our team. How can we make sure that all of them can have immediate schedule change in a day? Then also in 30 minutes, I'll have to meet a client, I'll have to attend a meeting. You will come up with a lot of excuses. So this is you escaping responsibility. I was guilty of this. Back then, when I was still a student, I would always ace the English subject. So I had always wanted to continue my study overseas, be it Australia, America, or the UK. But of course, I couldn't do that because my family's financial situation was not good. And in fact, our family's business was bankrupt. So I had to forget about my dream. Then there was this friend of mine. She went to Australia to pursue her bachelor degree because her parents could afford it. So I was complaining to myself, I'm smarter than her. If I were the one sent to Australia, I would probably get cum laude. So that was me being so arrogant back then. One day your manager calls you to her or his office and tells you that either you or your colleague Bob will be promoted to be in charge of the next sales team. Then your manager will continue by asking about your strategies if you were promoted, if you were chosen. And instead of you focusing on bringing more values, talking about the potential plans or strategies to help bringing more revenues or values to the company, you start complaining about your colleague Bob. You start telling your manager about how Bob is so untidy, is so bad at punctuality, how Bob is not following up with the customers properly, and you keep on complaining about Bob in front of your manager when in fact what you should have done is focusing on your values, on the practical strategies that you can do. Complaining as an excuse sounds like you complaining to your manager about how bad, how uninteresting your marketing program is compared to your competitors, or you complaining that your rate card of the products of the month is not as interesting compared to your competitors, when in reality you probably have got your personal issues at home that cause you to lose that drive at work. What are the 3 things that you complain the most? Share your opinions, share your comments. I would love to hear from you. And if you like what you hear and see, feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell so the next time I deliver content, you'll be the first to know. Of course, complaining is an avenue for us to blow off steam. We think that complaining will help us relieve our stress, will help us get that negative energy off our chest. Well, yeah, that will make us feel good temporarily. But if we go on and on and on, instead of making us feel better, usually it will cause us to feel even worse. Because when something bad happens, we feel negative. And as we repeat that story, we revisit those experiences or that experience, and that creates the same negative energy. That means that we are experiencing the same uneasiness, unpleasant emotion twice. Complaining over and over again can have severe risks. Research from Stanford University shows that complaining reduces the size of our hippocampus, which is responsible for problem solving and memory. Research also shows that complaining will make us more prone to even more negative thinking, causing us to have problems focusing on solving the problems. When we complain, we activate and increase the level of our stress hormone, cortisol. High levels of cortisol for the long term could cause health problems like depression, sleep disorders, weight gain, so digestive problems, heart diseases, heart attacks, strokes, headaches, muscle tension, muscle pain, so on and so forth. Besides the health issues, the more we prolong complaining, the more we put our attention to negative details. That means that we are more prone to be picking up on more negative things in our life, which will make us a more pessimistic person. Complaining too much can cause people around us to be in a bad mood as well, because we are contagious. Our energy is contagious. The practical solution will be stop complaining at all at once. But it's quite impossible, is it, to suddenly start something that we do every day. It's quite impossible for us to suddenly stop our addiction, or so to speak. What we can do is start being more aware, being more mindful of our thoughts every time we are going to complain. If we start by taking a small step every day, taking a more realistic approach, it is more likely to make us more consistent. So instead of promising or punishing yourself and say, okay, I'll stop complaining for a week, which is quite challenging, not impossible, but quite challenging if you're just starting a journey. You could probably start with taking, say, an hour, or if 1 hour is too much, then start with 15 minutes a day at least, to stay away from complaints. If it's still challenging for you, start journaling. Writing down the things that make you feel happy, make you feel grateful, And then ask yourself, is the situation or the things that you're complaining about unchangeable? Or do they have a solution? If they do have a solution, try to focus on the possible solutions. So I hope this might be helpful. I'll see you again in the next video.